news over the long weekend. I'm Philip Hong. Happy Labor Day. Updating SRN National News, I'm Philip Hong. A man has a hefty bill after his boat was stolen. 3 people face drug charges after a Vaughan raid. And Richard Stouffville Mayor Justin Altman's campaign signs were taken down over a bylaw infraction. Possible showers 27. This update is brought to you by Sparkling Cleaning Services. Sparkling Cleaning Services, serving northern and central York region. 289-383-3359. I'm Philip Hong from SRN National News. Now here's Mike, Rod, and Ray with North American Harness Update on 20th anniversary SRN1.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom, we're back. The style of harness racing is here. That's right, North American Harness Update back again, live, coming to you from BFE, Ohio. Ray is in Woodstock, Virginia, calling races, and Mike will be joining us shortly. But for now, you get me in this pretty little face right here. That's right, just me. See that little sign right there? My mom says I'm cool, so yeah, that happens. But anyways, we've got a show for you tonight. 2 hours, once again, a regular show, NAHU Live, coming at you. I'm going to start the show tonight, with a contest. All you have to do, you can comment on here, you can send me a message, Facebook, Twitter, on the website, email me. I don't care how you do it. But we will do a contest tonight. Pick the winner, both races tomorrow. Race number 3 at Running Aces. Pick the winner there, and at Woodbine Mohawk Park, race number 4. Race 3 at Aces, race 4 at Woodbine Mohawk Park, both for tomorrow night. You can see the link right up here. These are both free program pages, so get on there and get you a free program. And when you do that, you can go ahead and look at those statistics in the program. If you don't know how to read a program, feel free to message me. I'll teach you a little bit of basics about it, and hopefully we can get things working for you, make it a little better than just looking at it blindly. Try to teach you a little bit. To start the night, we're going to try to get Sugar Doyle. Sugar Doyle watching right now. Hopefully he can get on later. Rocking the Western Fair t-shirt right here. That's right. Only 1 month away. I'm excited for that. But on tap tonight, what do we have? We've got all the stakes races tomorrow at Woodbine Mohawk Park. There's a boatload of them, including Ontario Sire Stakes. By the way, if anybody can get the winner of both races in that contest tomorrow at Running Aces at Woodbine Mohawk Park, we're going to give you 2 things here. A hat from Running Aces, from Trout Air Tavern, and I can't reach it, but an Ontario Sire Stakes hat. 2 hats, just for picking winners of a couple races. I don't know what the value is. Who cares? In addition to those stake races at Woodbine Mohawk Park, we've got the Pick 5 for Sunday night at Running Aces. That is a carryover of $25,000 plus, and growing by each card. So it is a jackpot 20-cent Pick 5 bet. Saturday looks a little bit chalky in those races, so I think it's going to carry again. Sunday you got a chance to hit a massive pool, and if nobody hits it through the end of the meet, then it's going to be a mandatory payout on September 15th. Possibly, maybe sooner, we'll see. But we're looking at September 15th as of right now, just because that's closing night, and we will be at Running Aces for closing night doing a live broadcast there. You're not going to want to miss that show. Another topic I've been asked about over the last couple weeks that I haven't been able to respond to everybody about, the live shows that we've been doing. we were on the road. As you know, we did a ton of shows over a 5-week period. We were at the Meadows, we were at Running Aces, we were at the Meadowlands, Vernon, Tioga. A very busy schedule, and luckily we got through it. We needed a little bit of R&R last week, so that's why we took last week off, for those of you asking. It was a very hectic schedule. I still don't have my house clean, so I'm working on it. Hopefully I can get that stuff done within the next few days or so, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, if you want to comment on the winners of Race 3 at Running Aces tomorrow, Race 4 at Woodbine Mohawk Park tomorrow, which we will talk about a little bit, go ahead and comment in the comments below, or send me a message, email, however you want to do it. We are waiting for Mike Prebosi. He was out buying himself a new Beamer because he's rich. I'm rich. I can't cuss, sorry. But he got a new car. He's on his way home. With that Beamer, I thought he'd be home already. Probably be doing 150, but whatever. So I'm going to jump into a little bit of action for tomorrow night. I'm going to start at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I'm not even going to go right into the stake races because why start without Mike there? So I'm just going to start at race number 1. It's an hours of 5,200 last 5, and it is a field of 9. You got 3 trainer changes in this race. The big one being Captain Dragon. He is the number 3, going from Guy Gagnon to Carmen Osiello. Big barn change, big driver change, going from Redo down to Woodbine Mohawk Park, and went off the favorite last time. He's been getting very good trips, but he's been sharp recently too, so I think this is a lateral move for him. And coming down from Redo, I expect him with the barn change to do pretty well. We'll see how he fares in there, but handicapping this race quickly, I do like that horse. I don't know that he can win, but he's got a big shot. He's got an inside post. He's going to be tough. I'm going outside to the 8, Mr. Mock Jimmy, for the Cullen barn. This one comes off a shuffled trip last time, had no chance to win that race. Drops down another level where I think he's going to be a little bit more competitive here. And he really plays, if you look at his lines compared to the rest of these, he's been racing as well or better than everything in here. So really just needs to get into the race. He doesn't have early gate speed, which is the only concern for him, but I do think he's got a big shot. The outside post is the concern. Needs a little bit of stuff to happen up front for him to win the race, but that 26 and a piece final kicker last time was big, and he's been closing very well. Final halves in 54 and change week in, week out. So I'm going to use him. I think he's a very solid play there. You can probably key him in any of the top 3 spots, and it might be a pretty good bet there. For second, I am going to go the 3 Captain Dragon. Again, this is tomorrow at Woodbine. 3 Captain Dragon, going to the Osiello barn, shipping down from Rio Carlton. He is 1 for 20 this year, but he had 7 wins last year. The horse knows how to win, seems to like the big track, so I think he plays well and should be up near the front as he's shown in his lines. He's going to be forwardly placed in. Another one kind of iffy on, but I think he's going to bring a decent value here. The 1 Print Media 7-2 morning line. He's another one shipping down from Redo. He's been racing against a little bit tougher up there, but he's never left the rail, which is a little concerning for me. He's been getting great trips, not winning races. He was 2 for 40 last year, 3 for 26 this year. He makes his money, but he likes to chase. I would strictly use that horse underneath, especially with the short morning line. You know he's going to be going early, but he doesn't really like to win. The other one I think that plays that was probably going to win last week is the 6 Arsenal Sealster. Made a break last time, was going right by everybody. Again, he's another one, doesn't win a lot. 2 for his last 33, but he makes money. And this one, I think if he can work out a trip following some live cover, he doesn't have a lot of gate speed either, so he's just got to follow some cover and hope they drag him into the race. Definite player there, and he's going to be a little bit of value too. Race number 2, now winners of 16,000 last 5. This is a field of 7, short field here. You got a trainer change on the 2 Lincoln James from Jamie Smith to Harry Poulton. Tough race, honestly. For a 7-horse field, this is a very good race. But there's a couple that I think probably should be 1-2 in this race if you look at it a little bit deeper. The 4, Ideal Jet, has been racing pretty well other than maybe his last start. Rick Zeron drives. He made a first over move last time, got hung past the quarter in the non-winners of 30,000. Just faded late. He got tired, got pressed the whole way, never got a breather in that whole mile. So you can toss that start. The start before, he went to the half and 55 in a piece, and he ended up winning in 49 and change. So I do think this horse plays in here. He's probably going to get bet and looks as good or better than everything else in here. Then the 5, Big Bang Boom, another dropper here. Had no chance last week from post 8, got away 9th and was just way, way too far out of the race early on to make an impact. He was a big long shot there, but he's getting John Drury back on. Last 2 times that John Drury drove this horse, he won on him. So you can't overlook that. He's got some issues. He had a lame scratch 4 back, but he plays here. He's got 7 wins and 17 starts this year. Big time underlay if he's right. The big key is if. Since that lame scratch, he hasn't been himself, but we know this horse is fast enough. He's got a win in 49 and 2 this year. No reason not to use this horse. And you get the driver change to John Drury as well. So you move on from that race. Now you start getting into the stakes races. And I think Mike is going to be joining us here.
I'm right here.
There he is. There's Mike. Mike finally came in. Now I don't have to talk to myself.
I'm trying to get home as fast as I could.
I ain't got to talk to myself anymore.
That's good, Rod. How did you do? Did you talk to yourself good?
Kind of.
What are you talking about?
I was going through Mohawk the first 2 races, yeah.
Okay, all right. That's fine. I couldn't tell. Are you doing anything for tonight here?
Tonight, no.
Okay, I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to get organized a little. So we got Mohawk tomorrow, Aces for Sunday, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get that ready, which I am. What race were you on at Mo? Race 2 for tomorrow?
I just finished a second, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna peek at that for just 1 second. See if I have any thoughts.
We do got a bunch of people watching, by the way.
Who did you pick? Let me know.
In race 2. Race number 2.
Yeah, who'd you pick?
My top choice is Ideal Jet.
Okay, so you think he's going to get away on these?
Well, I think he's going to make the front a lot easier than he did last time. He was pressured the whole way. And the horse likes to win.
Very much all or nothing. Yeah, that's the thing about him. When he gets things his own way, he's a monster. Like, he's almost impossible to catch. But he doesn't always get that. It's a short field. I'd be curious how the 2 would play in the race. Just coming out of those. I mean, that horse has a lot of class. Those Meadows races are very good. The Cup and Saucer horse had no chance from the 8-hole. Gets the 2-hole here. Should pocket up, I would think, because there's a lot of closers in the race. The 3's going to be tough also. I would probably be 2 and 3. I don't mind your pick there because I think he has a chance, but I'd be curious what the 5's going to do in the race. Because when that horse was good, he was flashing a lot of speed. He just hasn't been the same since he's come back.
Yeah, since that lame scratch, he's been off his game a little bit. But this is a softer spot, so maybe he can bounce back. We'll see there.
We can move on.
Race number 3, tomorrow night at Woodbine, is 3-year-old Pacing Colts and Geldings Ontario Sire Stakes Gold Division, $95,600 purse, and you got to field a 7 here. Big early favorite is going to be the 1 Backstreet Shadow. Comes in off a win. Second start for Moreau. And I'm curious, Mike, are you going with the chalk there, or are you going with maybe one of these non-winners horses that have been exclusively racing there?
I can tell you that the 3 Sharp Action Money had absolutely no chance the way he was driven last time. None. Yeah, he was basically drugged back off the gate and was buried the entire mile. Finally got out late to be 3rd, kicked home 26-4. Whereas, in that same race, Backstreet Shadow basically was driven perfectly and just crushed first time in a row. Now this horse is going to be 2-5 against these horses. The 3, certainly, I liked this horse last week. He's fast enough. He has back miles that can beat these. I mean, if you look back, he was racing against Humboldt, Jimmy Freight, and he's been right there. So I don't have a problem with him, especially, given the money that the 1's going to take. And then, who knows what's going to be with the 7. I mean, you never know what kind of drive you're going to get from Pat LaChance. This horse has won 3 in a row. He's run through conditions pretty easily at 3 different racetracks. He crushed at Yonkers and then, was basically, I mean, if you look at that line, that was huge. Look at that race.
Yeah.
Kicked home 27-3 there, then goes in 51-2 at Philly, and that's a big race. Then goes to Pocono and wins from off the pace too with 9 lengths back at the half. So this horse is very sharp. I don't know if he's quite this good, but you're going to get a price in this race also.
I agree.
On that one.
Now, I don't mind the 7. He did chase a very fast first half. His last race at Pocono, 52-4. I mean, that's ridiculous, especially for non-winners of 5 and 6. But I think he plays a little bit. I think he might take a little more money than you think just off of that line. But I agree with you on the 3 Sharp Action Money. He's coming off a very good race where he had no chance to win, buried on the rail. You look at that start, he come the last half 54-4. You look at the start prior. Look at his third quarter. That's 25-4 third quarter there. That's giant around a turn. So,
right.
I mean, this horse is primed and ready for this race, going for $95,000. The money's on the line. He's ready to go. He gets a soft group here. Obviously the 1 Backstreet Shadow is going to be the favorite, and he deserves to be the favorite. I think he was second to Jimmy Freight 3 starts back. So he's deservedly going to take money. But I think Sharp Action Money is the value play of the race. You're probably going to get 4 or 5 to 1 on him.
At least.
And he's made over $100,000 this year, so there's nothing to really dislike about him, especially coming off of 2 very easy trips there where he just had no chance to win and was driven very conservatively. And this horse can sprint. I mean, if he saves a move to the stretch, he can sprint a ton. So we'll see how he does tomorrow. I really like that horse as a value play. He would be a key player in pick 3s for me. Moving on, we're going to run through the whole card at Mohawk tomorrow, Woodbine Mohawk Park. Race number 4, 5-year-old and younger, non-winners of 3 or 52,000 lifetime, purse at 18,000. You got a full field of 10 here, And this is the race. One of our contest races we're giving away an Ontario Sire Stakes hat if you hit this race and the third race at Running Aces tomorrow. Field of 10 here. I think this race is pretty wide open. It's a very good betting race. So if you can hit this race on the nose, you're going to get paid, I think, because there's a lot of value to be had here.
I agree. I think it's a very good race because a lot of the favorites I think are a bit curious. Torrin Hanover's turned into a really, very nice horse these past few weeks. He's always had that big speed, but, really just couldn't figure it out. And then basically the last 4 races, blowout to break the maiden, almost impossible trip to be second, and then win, coming through conditions. Last time from the 9 hole, that was not an easy race. That was a fast mile. This horse should take a lot of money again. Beat Geraldo in that race, who came back after those couple races at Hoosier. This horse has always flashed talent, but another one, 2 for 20 this year, 2 for 29 lifetime. These horses are far from cinches by any means, but they're drawn inside. They're going to take money. Hidden Delight, he beat a decent field too back on August 18th. That was the night that we were up at Vernon. And he kind of tripped out and won that race, but he's been flashing speed and has been much better. Talpa Creek Whiskey has 6 wins this year. You can talk about every horse. And, even Trump that always seems to be around it early. The horse I like that I think is interesting that I haven't mentioned is the One, and that's a Farm Boy Success. This horse had a brutal trip last time for Osceola. It was 35 to 1 in there. Draws inside here. It's going to be hidden. There's a lot of speed in the race. I think that he has a chance to be live late if he gets a better trip, especially from the rail. There's no way he should be parked out every step from this spot now. I mean, he's on the wood. He has 4 wins this year. Those numbers of 6s at Yonkers are legitimate races. These are fast horses, but, you're looking at 20, 25 to 1 here. I would definitely use this horse in all spots.
I don't mind throwing him on underneath. I don't think he can win the race. I think there's just a little too much speed in here. The 3 Gerardo is going to be your favorite, coming off of 226 and change quarters, 26 flat last time. He definitely plays. His only problem is he's got to get in gear earlier. But he does have Yannick, so Yannick I think is going to keep him up close in this race tomorrow. He plays, again, short price. My key player here, the 9, Phil the Thrill, gets Brett Miller to drive. Interesting driver change there. He's been razor sharp, other than maybe his last start where he finished 4th. Just got tired on the lead. Had to fire very hard from post 9 early. Same post again tomorrow, but he's been good enough. I think Brett Miller might be able to keep him live and hopefully be able to get a trip here, because I think the key is the 3 Gerardo with Yannick. If Yannick doesn't fire to the lead, he might try to quarter pole, which would put this horse right in the 2-hole, and that's a great spot if he can get that 2-hole trip and possibly upset this field as a decent price.
I don't see how he can get the 2-hole in the race, with the 7 in the race, with the 5 in the race, with the 4 in the race, with the 2 in the race. I realized that he got out last time, but they're going to be waiting for him this time. There's a lot of speed inside. I feel like that he's really up against it from this spot. I don't care if who's sitting on him. McDonnell is one of the best gate riders up there. I don't know. I have a hard time. I feel like this horse is going to take money off that driver switch, and he does not benefit from a race shape whatsoever.
Well, my thing is he's left in 25 in a piece. He cannot leave everything in here.
He can, but this is going to be a very contentious front end, and that's why I'm going with the price, because you know how this place gets.
Well,
here's 4 or 5 of them going crazy early.
Here's the other thing. If that happens, the other price play I like in the race is the 10 Life Happen. It's a second start back off the layoff. He missed about a month and a half. He raced very well last time, just sat the rail, only got beat a couple lengths. He's got the 10 hole, which is a concern, but could play out well if they go real fast early on. he'll be the one coming late, and he should be primed after that tightener last time.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with you. However, David Miller's going to hurt your price some. He got Lasix after, it wasn't. It was over a month off. It was close to 2 months off, and the horse didn't necessarily improve with it. He's just very much a curiosity for me. He would have to be a big price for me to be interested. I mean, he certainly has the connections too, so he's just okay for me.
Well, we're going to move on to the next stake race, which is race number 5. It's the 3-year-old open trot, the Simcoe, for about $170,000. And got a field of 11 here. So we got one trailer, which could be a key factor in this race. You got the likes of Lawmaker, You Do, Perfetto, who's been very sharp recently, Metz Hall, Alarm Detector. Very stacked race here, I think. And the only ones you're missing are Atlanta and Manchego, sorry. Got tongue-tied there. So where are you going here and why?
I mean, this is a very good race, and there's a lot of speed in the race. I'd be curious to see what Andy Miller does with Metz Hall here, because he's obviously the best horse, I think, in the race overall. But he, we know what happened at Vernon. He got the perfect drive on a perfect racetrack. Obviously to beat Manchego, he's has the most class in the race. I feel he's facing all these horses that are coming out of golds and stuff, and they're nice races, but they're not. Those horses don't have to go 52 to win. So, I think the 6 and the 7 in the race benefited from race shape. That night at Vernon. There's no doubt about that. I think they're going to be the top 2 choices in the race. Alarm Detector will take his money. It's hard to know what to do with You Do, especially the horse hasn't raced since the Hambo, broke, in the elimination, so really eliminated, himself there. Prior to that, I mean, his Stanley Dancer was very good. What horse shows up though? This horse has made almost $500,000. But hasn't really raced in almost 6 weeks. If you toss that Hambo race where the horse looked like that he was moving a little bit, I'd be interested in him at a price. Lawmaker seems a little second rate compared to some of these others, but he draws perfect. He's going to be in the mix early. He's getting better too. I mean, that Meadows blowout that's a huge race. He could be starting to put it together a little bit, and he's only had 8 starts this year, so. He's interesting to me. Price would dictate for me. If you can get over 5 to 2 on Metz Hall, you should take it. If he's 3 to 5, then maybe you should look elsewhere. I've always liked Alarm Detector, but he just, he's so hard to trust. I mean, he's back home at least. I like Henry for him. I don't know what to do with him. I'd lean toward Metz Hall. I would maybe use What Chapter a little bit underneath as a price, because Blaze horses, have been doing very well, and this horse is 12 out of 14 in the exacta. So if I was looking for a price, I'd use that one. I'd lean pretty heavy on the 7. Maybe use a little bit of 2 and 6 underneath, and keep an eye on the board on the 3.
For me, I agree with you on the price on the 11 What Chapter. I think he plays well. He's got an inside post. It is a second tier, and he's following a horse that's iffy at best leaving the gate. But I think the horse, he's getting Scott Zier on the drive. He should be solid from Tom Duran, so that's a solid driver change there. The horse, when he's flat, is good enough, I think, to at least carry him where he needs to be early on. But the key horse, like you said, is Metz Hall. He's very sharp. He's coming off of 3 very, very good races in a row. 4, really. The big win in the Zweig over at Vernon, we all capitalized on that one. And, he's going to be tough. he is kind of a trip horse. I don't think he likes the front end, but they gave it to him, and he walked around there at Vernon. He likes to chase horses, I think. That's his game. That's where he's going to be tomorrow. He's going to be chasing, and hopefully he gets a fast pace to chase. If he does, I think he wins. The other player in here that I think is overlooked a little bit, the 6 Zephyr Chronos. He comes off of winning the Zweig Consolation. He was very, very good with Yannick driving there. The Handball Limb, he was all over the racetrack. And the Tompkins, he was right there at the wire. That was a big effort there, first over the whole way. I think he just needs to be put in play. A flat mile will have him right in the hunt throughout here. And he's going to bring a little bit of value just because Jimmy Takter is driving. Yannick took the 3, you do, which is the faster of the 2 horses, but he's another one. He hasn't raced since Hambo Day, which is a concern. That's been almost a month now. Is he ready to go for this? We'll see after the break on Hambo Day. I'm a little concerned, but the horse obviously is quick enough to get there if things work out. He needs to stay flat. He plays Lawmaker, another one. He's been sharp basically all year long. He just needs some things to happen for him to get there, I think. And really a wide open race if you can get past Metz Hall. Race number 6, now winners of 7,500 last 5. This is a field of 9. Trainer change on the 4 from Carmen Auciello to Moreau. He's only 1 for 18 this year, though. Do you still play him off of the 1 for 18, even though you get the trainer change?
Well, the thing is, it's not like he's coming out of, a lower level barn. He's coming out of basically the top barn at the meet to go to probably the second best barn at the meet. This horse had such a perfect trip last time and really just, got picked off by Don McWhite, who came from mid-pack to win that race. And this is another step up for this horse. Can he win first time in a row? Absolutely. I just, this horse doesn't really like to win all that much. And you're going to get a short price off of that, trainer switch. Everybody's onto that kind of stuff. I thought Highland Beachy Cove would win, on the 27th. And he got the drive I thought he would get. The problem is the race fell apart again. This horse has a lot of class. He just doesn't seem to be finishing races. Dubious Claim is another horse that, is very difficult to trust. Has a giant brush. And, when he can use it, he's very tough. He's dropping in here. There's no Mongolian heroes, no Humboldts. This horse, lost to Humboldt 4 times, out of the last 5 races. That horse would crush this bunch. But 9 hole, going to have to pass them all here. Going to get a short price. It's a very good race. McKinney's interesting because, those are tough races at Georgian that the horses face. This horse excels at the big track. Has made $435,000. Gets Tetrick. He's interesting for me, I think, in a race where it's basically a lot of these horses are thrown together. It's a very mid-level type class for them to, basically fill a race. I like the 5 some. I could see the 7 popping just because this horse is gonna beat a field here one of these nights. I know he is. The 9 will be tough if everything falls back to him, and he could get a little bit of a setup. I don't really love the race. I would just try to get through it in Maltese with the 5, the 7, and the 9.
Well, I don't know that I would use the 5 off of the Georgian lines just because Georgian is a very fast track in the summer. But the horse is good enough.
Those are good races up there. This horse is very consistent.
Yeah, he's good enough. He's got a mile in 49 in the piece last year right here at this track. And 6 starts back, he raced at Mohawk. he didn't fare very well. It was a tougher group, I think, and he does get T-trick, so I think he should be played. Not a horse to key off of, though. I would throw him on your tickets just in case. But I'm going to use the 4, Avalanche Hanover. I think trainer change, he's going to be right there. The 1 for 18 is concerning, obviously, but he's been very sharp recently. He fits well at this level, and he should get a trip up close. He's got early gate speed, so I see him being up toward the front. The 3, Dreamy Fella, is my key horse in the race. Chris Christoforou just had no chance last time. He's way too far back early on. Couldn't catch enough of him. But that 26-2 final quarter is very impressive. He's been coming back halves in 54 basically every single week. He fits well at this level. I think this is a field he's going to like a lot more than what he's been facing for the most part recently. Just needs to be put into play.
The horse races the same way every time. He sits and makes one run. You know, he's coming out of a 3% barn. He's difficult to key off of because of the way he races. Is he capable? Absolutely. I don't know. I always have a hard time using him, especially on top.
Well, I like that he's got this particular field to go up against.
Okay. I mean, I get that, and that's not, you know, I could see him getting a piece of it. Can he, you know, everything always has to go his way for him to win. That's just him.
Yeah. And he's always been like that, but this is a field I think that it could happen with. There's some early speed outside of him that will likely fold up late. There's some early speed inside of him. Both the horses inside of him has shown early gate speed. The fact is, he should get drugged right into the race here. And if he's in the right spot turning for home, I think he can just dust these things and blow by him late. He's going to be a good price. I would play this horse. I would key him first, second, and third in your tries. Great value play here. Make sure you use that horse. The 3, Dreamy Fella. The other player in here for me, the 9, Dubious Claim, I think is pretty obvious to have on your ticket. On the class drop, obvious concern is the post, but I think he plays well. Just has to overcome where he starts from. Other than that, he's a player in here. That's all I'm going to say about this race because we got more stakes races coming up. But first, race number 7. Now there's a $22,000 last 5. Optional $55,000 claimer. And we got a field of 9 here. I'll start this one off. For me, I'm looking at this race. I see very little early speed here, which should play in the favor of inside horses. Particularly the 3, Shades of Bay. He's got early gate speed. He is jumping up in class, but he can get out of there. He can get a good trip in this race. If he does, I think he's going to be tough. He likes to win. He's got some obvious issues, but he's sharp right now. He's jumping back up and just needs to get off the car quickly. If he does that, he's going to be right there at the wire. He's coming off a first over win last time. Big effort there. I think with his current form, he's a player. Should be okay value as well. Second, I'm going to go to the 6, Fine Diamond. Another one coming off a really good race last time. Final half, 54 flat. Only concern is this horse does not like to win. He's 3 for 55 the last year and a half. That turns me off big time. But he hits the board quite often. So I'm going to throw him on for second, thinking he's probably going to hit the board again. He can pace as fast as anybody for 3/8 of a mile. So just needs to get a trip early on, which I think he can do. He is versatile. He can leave or he can tuck and sit for the first half. We'll see how that goes. And then my third choice here, go all the way outside to the 9, Mongolian Hero. coming off 2 wins in a row, another one jumping up in class. He's going to probably come from off the pace in this race. I don't see him leaving in here. But this is one of those races, I think, and Mike, you can attest to this a little bit, that it looks like there's not a lot of early gate speed here. You see some ones in there from inside posts from horses, but you don't see that flashing speed early on from most of this field. This might be one of those races where everybody else sees the same thing. There's no early gate speed, and they all try to go. And then it sets up for the 9 Mongolian Hero, who comes from off the pace and could win if things set up the right way.
I'm surprised you didn't talk about the winner, who's the 7, I think, physically inclined. Was racing strictly preferred there for a while. And if you look at some of those races, Continual Hanover, Dr. J, McWicked. I mean, this horse has faced very good horses. Probably should have finished that race last time, but that was a sloppy track that night. Got picked off by Regal Sun. I'm okay with that. This is an easier bunch than that was. He's supposed to win this race, I think. Given his last 3 races,
you're not going to get morning line.
What's that?
You're not going to get morning line value. He'll be the favorite, I think.
I don't know, though. I mean, the money's going to be spread. You're right. I mean, if he's good, that he's probably cut in half. You're getting 4.5 to 5 to 1. But I'm okay with that because
I think he's going to go off.
Mr. Hanover race last time. Fine Diamond always needs a trip, and that horse is certainly capable. But he's very hit and miss, and he's 1 for 21. So, do I want that horse on top coming off those lines? Probably not, because you're going to get 3 to 1 on a horse that probably should be 8. Shades of Bay is very quirky. He could wire this field very easily. He's got plenty of class, but typically he gets to the top of the stretch and he turns right. So sometimes that's good enough to still win it. I don't trust him by any means. I do feel like that it's going to be a fast race up front. You could pitch that Humboldt race last time. No chance. Interference break. Was in a wrong spot anyway. Prior to that, I had won 4 out of 5. That horse is very sneaky, especially from that post. And I don't know what Jameson's going to do with him. This is first time Jameson. He typically likes to sit. We know that. That might be okay, though, because this horse can win from off the pace. I like him some. So I would be 2, 7. And then, Mongolian Hero finally, responded to Lasix. Was supposed to win. That number 75 did. Came back, jumped back up and won again. This horse is going to be right there. I definitely would use in Maltese. You have to use the 9 in the race. Too sharp to leave out. And maybe I might throw the 8 in as a closer, some value. It's like you said, it's a tough race. A lot of ways to go. I would be 2, 7, 8, 9 in the Maltese.
With that, we move on to the big race. The Canadian Pacing Derby final, $600,000 on the line. The Down Under sensation, Lazarus, is the talk of the race. He's only raced here 1 time. Very impressive. The word from Jimmy Takter was that he trained in 151 and 3 at his farm in New Jersey before shipping up to Canada. Now, the key will be what happens in this race, because they're all gunning for Lazarus, whatever he's going to do. And he drew inside, so he's kind of at a disadvantage on the aspect that if he leaves, they're going to run at him. If he ducks, they're going to try to trap him in. So, what do you think happens here, and how do you think this race unfolds?
I think it's a fantastic race. Probably the best race all year so far. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, really, and it's interesting that he drew inside. He's going. I mean, there's no way that Jinger's going to sit with anything. So he's going to go, but you have a lot of fast horses in the race. Like you said, you got, Rock and Ron who goes, Filibuster. Nirvana Sealster has a big chance to go, getting second-time Lasix. That horse is a burner. That horse can lead with anything. Dr. J. Hanover's back home where this is his best racetrack, and he's extremely fast here. I mean, he's gone 47 here, or 46 and 4. He's hard to fault, especially from the 9 hole. He's not sitting. He's got to go. It could be a huge front end. I think it sets up for McWicked quite a bit in the race. Split the House was exceptional in that Dan Patch. That horse, that was the best race I've seen that horse race. Now, I think that horse might race like Hoosier some, because you remember last year that horse won the Breeders' Crown at that racetrack. That horse loves that racetrack. I mean, he looked like he was going by Lazarus there. Do you think that this is the ultimate goal for this horse? Maybe, maybe not. But you're going to get sub-even money. I would probably play around with Split the House for sure. I would definitely use McWicked in Maltese. I liked All Bets Off at Tioga, and the horse was gutted again first up, basically the whole way around. Cintra's kind of interesting, only because he's been so bad that he's going to be 30-1, and he likes it here too. He made $600,000 last year. Yeah, he might be something you want to throw in underneath. I think that I would play around in Maltese with the 1, 2, and 3. Those would probably be my 3 and try to get through the race there. If I was playing triples and things, I would probably use the 6 and the 8 underneath.
I kind of agree with you. Lazarus is going to be the key horse here. The horse is just ridiculous. I mean, he's fast. He only goes what he needs to go. From what I've seen of him, and when he's pressed, it doesn't seem to bother him. He just keeps going and going and going. Very tough horse to beat. But he is beatable. He's been beat before. He's been beat this year. McWicked, we know he loves Mohawk. The last time he was here, he came in last half in 52 flat, which is just ridiculous. I don't care what.
No chance of Hoosier whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, he was out of the race at the half at Hoosier.
And that Hambo Day race was another one that was a huge race. I mean, that horse made a massive move on the turn, only to get, to lose to Western Joe, who basically, made the last move in the race. So you can't fault him.
No, I think McWicked's going to be tough. This is his home track, and he's going to be one of those horses that is going to be the biggest test to Lazarus here. But I think if you're playing exotics in this race, the 6 All Bets Off plays here, was first over at Tioga in the roll with Joe. Just got tired late. Didn't really get beat much. I thought he raced very well there. He's been off form a little bit, but he's still racing well. Got away way in the back in the Dan Patch. You can toss that race. He made a first over move at the Meadowlands in the McKee. Got tired there. That's not really his game. Just looks to need a trip, I think. If he gets a trip, I think he plays underneath in exotics, maybe 3rd and 4th. Again, he's going to have to go by 2 very, very good horses on the front, or up near the front. The one Split the House, another one that plays. He's been very sharp recently as well. He wasn't going to go by Lazarus at the Dan Patch, but he's been good enough. Still plays. He's going to be probably the 3rd favorite here. I think they're going to bet 2, 3, and 1 in that order, and I see no other horses taking any type of play here. Nirvana maybe with the hometown advantage. He likes this racetrack. He's got a crap ton of early speed. And
that's the key to the race as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. If he goes, I mean, it really could put a damper on Lazarus's day, because Nirvana Sealster can go with any horse for that first half mile. So we'll see how that plays out there. But, again, Lazarus is going to be the horse to beat there. Very tough. The horse I liked until the draw, Dr. J. Hanover. But, the draw kind of got him in this race. I think he's going to have to wait for another week to get there. But
well, he's another one that's curious, because he could leave out with the 7. I mean, the 7 goes, he goes. It's going to be. It could get Western there early, and then they could set up who gets the best trip too. These are all very capable horses.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times races like this just play out as who gets the best trip on this particular night. And a lot of times that's who you see win the race. So we'll see how it plays out. Tough race. Lazarus, McWicked, Split the House. Take your pick. You got 7 other ones in there. So, going to be a tough one. Fun to watch for sure. Moving on, race number 9. Another 3-year-old Colt Pace Ontario Sire Stakes Gold Race. This is a field of 7, short field, but competitive race here, I think. And with the, how do I want to put it? With the lack of closing speed in this race, I think maybe a horse that's up front is going to be able to win the race. And Yacht Sealster, jumping back up from the grassroots. He left in that last race, showed a lot of gate speed. He's got an inside post this time. I think he plays. He's just got to get up near the front. The 1 doesn't have much gate speed. I don't see him going out of there a million miles an hour. The 2 doesn't really have gate speed either. He's shown a little bit, a flash here and there, but he doesn't really go. He's best off the pace. So I think the 3, Yacht Sealster, can make the front halfway easily here. If he does, and nobody runs at him, or somebody else goes and he gets the 2-hole, he's going to be tough because this is one of those races that I don't see a lot of horses coming late in the mile, other than maybe the 2 Taste of History. But he could be first over and kind of damper his day.
So you don't think the 7's going to come late in the race?
Well, he's going to come a little bit. I don't know how close he's going to be. He's not going to make up a ton of ground, though, because...
Okay, let's see who he's faced, though. Okay, so if you look back, June 23rd, he closed second to Jimmy Freight. Then they put him in against Older, Shambhala, Regal Sun. No chance in that race. End up in the gold at Rito, drew bad, had no chance, was basically parked every step. Then got a trip in the next gold and beat this bunch rather easily. If you watch that replay, this horse, there was no way they were beating him that night. Then they put him back in against Older again, the same kind. Regal Sun, physically inclined. All those horses would murder these horses. The downtown bus is very improved, so is Yacht Sealster, but they're more grassroots type horses. This horse I picked to win the damn North America Cup. I mean,
I don't know why. I picked the winner.
He was, he had a terrible trip in that race. But anyway, he's got more class and talent than these horses. He's going to get a setup because the 1's going to go. This horse has been, misdriven the last couple starts. I really feel like this horse is better when he goes to the front. The 3, there's no doubt about it, is racing very well, but he's not as good as the 4 is. Who that was an easy win last time. Got the front and just, basically took a couple turns and was gone. And that horse has actually faced a lot better ones. I mean, if you look back at his lines, I think it's 4-7. I wouldn't even get creative. I would use those 2 and move completely on. I wouldn't even bother with the race much.
3 with the 4-7. Like you said, St. Lad's Neptune, the 7, is obvious. I think you got to have him somewhere. Don't think he has to win, though.
I agree. He doesn't have to win, but I just feel like he's probably going to.
So I'll take the value of those 3 horses in the 3, Yacht Sealster. Race number 10, Maple Leaf Trot Final, co-featured race. Got another full field of 11 here. The trailer is I Know My Chip for Walt Haynes Jr. And this is the race. You got Marion Marauder, Ariana G, who...
Well, that horse is also eligible, Rod, so he might draw in. I don't know. He's
he isn't also eligible. Yeah, I see that now. Okay. So you got Marion Marauder, Ariana G, Will Take Charge, Hannelore Hanover. Stacked field of older trotters here. Ariana G comes off the win in the elimination last week at 10-1. How did you guys let this horse go off at 10-1? There was only 3 horses in that race. They ran 1, 2, 3. And you let Ariana G go off at 10-1 when she was loaded behind Hannelore to the start before. I don't get it, but...
And sometimes, that's what happens at this place sometimes. It's just the way it is. I mean, you'll get some goofy win pull odds. There's no... that was incredible. You'll never see it again.
No. And you're getting decent morning line value at 9-2 on her once again. But she's never faced Marion Marauder. So, with that, the race could get interesting. I think it's a very, very good race. I'm curious where you're at in here, Mike.
Well, I'm going to be on the horse that I was on last week, and that's the 2 Dancer Hall, who was completely, driven conservatively, was dragged to the back, never let loose until the last 16th of a mile, and just absolutely flew and was catching Marion Marauder. I don't care what Scott says. This horse was getting there. I feel like from this post, the horse should be closer early, has this wicked kick. It doesn't really, I don't think will get played in the race because, you have all these other ones. You have, Marion, you have Ariana. Will take charge, will take his share of money. Hannelore always takes her money. This horse is going to be the 5th choice, maybe the 6th choice in the race. I really, really like him. He's as good as he possibly could be. He likes it here. I think Marion Marauder is the other horse. I would lean heavily on both of those 2. The fillies are going to take money, or the mares, and that's fine. They're obviously world class, have made all the money in the world. But I'm more interested in those 2. I like Ariana's bounce back last time, and I think the driver switch helped her quite a bit. You can't argue that. Will take charge at a stone cold perfect trip and still got picked off. That I don't feel like that you can, even though he raced very well in there. I'd never bet horses back off perfect trips, ever. That's just one of the worst things you could possibly do. And, Hannelore is her, and she could bounce back and win again, but I feel like she might be going the wrong way a little bit. I mean, when's the last time you seen her run 3rd, 3 in a row, and last time she was going the wrong way. So I'm not interested in her whatsoever. I like the 2 and the 3. I would maybe, use the 4 sparingly in smaller tickets and go with those 3.
Now, my thing, especially with Hannelore, she always plays in this group because she's, let's face it, she's been the best of this group for a few years now. Yeah. And I think maybe she's getting a little tired of the front end. She's been getting used very hard early on.
And that's just the way he drives her.
Maybe she needs to come from off the pace a little bit. This might be the race to do it because there's a lot of early speed here. Maybe he comes from off the pace. He follows up Marion Marauder and Ariana G. Ariana G might leave. I don't know what Dave Miller's going to do there. He's got options with her.
He drove perfect last week by sitting with her for the first time in forever, like you're suggesting with Hannelore.
Yeah, and I think if Hannelore gets that type of trip that Ariana G got last week, she could bounce right back and beat these. We know she's capable. Like you said, she has been going the wrong way recently, but the way she is, it's something that I think maybe she just kind of got a little tired.
If everyone sits, who goes? Will take charge, maybe?
If everyone sits?
Yeah, you're suggesting that we're suggesting the 4 sits and the 7 sits, who are the 2 horses that really.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that the 4 is going to sit.
Closer. The 3 never really leaves ever.
The 3 doesn't leave. We know the 3's not leaving. The 4, I don't know what he's going to do. He might go after that easy trip last week. I have a feeling he's going to go with Ariana G.
Okay.
Crazy Wow has a ton of gate speed. He can go whenever he wants. He's likely to go and try to get the Tool trip.
He's sort of interesting in the race, isn't he?
I think Jody's going to put him up toward the front, sit the rail behind whoever else goes outside of him, probably the 4 and or the 5. Dancer Hall shows a ton of gate speed. We'll see what he does there. He's going to at least protect position early on. But really, for me, the key player in the race is Handle or Hanover. If she ducks, what do the rest of these horses do off the gate? That's going to be the key, is as soon as the gate folds, what happens with Handle or Hanover? That's the only question I have, which makes this entire race interesting, because she could win, and she's going to be likely for the first time in years value.
But what do you consider value on her?
5-2 or better.
I think you'll get that in this race. Given her last three,
yeah,
she was, 7-5 last time, between 6-5, 7-5 last time. I could see 5-2, especially with all this inside stuff going to take money.
Yeah, they're going to bet. They're going to bet Miriam Marauder. They're going to bet Ariana G, I think, a little bit. And Will Take Charge always takes money, regardless if he has a chance to win or not. So there's that factor. But we are halfway through. We're going to take a break. We just finished the Maple Leaf Trot Final, Grand Circuit horses. We will be back momentarily with the second half of our show, which features the rest of this card tomorrow night at Woodbine and the Pick 5 for Sunday night at Running Aces racetrack.
So I want to thank all of you for letting me come back here to see, what really happens backstage. It's an honor for me to be able to be in front of all of you, especially you and you and you. But I do have to say that there's money on the line out there, and you don't want to go out on the track and do something that seems a little bit iffy. Just get that extra check, because it might come back to haunt you a bit later. So clean and fair competition is all I want to see from all you guys. All right? Yes.
Can I pick up a pylon and hold it until the stretch and then throw it at somebody passing me?
That to me does not sound clean and fair. That sounds, in fact, not clean and very unfair, and also kind of inconvenient. So, are you getting off the horse, or no? Yes.
Is it all right if you're gonna loop the field and drag your whip in a manner and then flip off the judges or anything?
I mean,
that's not okay.
If the camera doesn't see it, but it doesn't seem like a good idea, because the camera could always keep that. Yes.
Is it okay if I drink this during the race?
No. That can get you pulled over by the horsey police that are following you around the track there. That's a bad idea. That's very unfair, very unclean. I'd check your liver if I were you. Okay, so, yes.
Is it okay to challenge somebody with a foot race after the race?
I don't see anything wrong with that. That seems pretty...
What if he's over 65? And he has tennis shoes and you have boots?
So he's old and he's not wearing shoes?
But he's from California.
No, he wears tennis shoes.
He's from California.
But if they're tennis shoes and he's from California, doesn't that mean he's fit and vegan?
Actually, he is.
Then he's definitely clean, and that to me seems unfair for whoever's going against him.
Yeah, because they have boots on.
Look, I just want to see you guys out there racing those horses as fairly as you possibly can. All right. So do we have everyone clear on that? Clean and fair. No drinking and driving. No pylons. No middle fingers. Foot races are okay, but I'm focused more on the horse foot races.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that seems clean and fair to everybody. I feel like that's a no. Someone's hiding something.
Juan, what do you think?
Juan?
¿Cómo estás?
That's two, Juan.
Oh, that's...
¿Es correcto si pateas el caballo cuando va en la carrera?
Sí.
Sí.
Sí. Sí. Yeah.
That sounds clean and fair to me. Go out and do that. Everyone know his lead, right? That's what I want to see, okay?
Which is fair.
So we're ending this on a chant, all right? Clean and fair.
No.
Clean and fair.
Never.
hooking something.
Dandy Farms is proud to announce the arrival of Sire World of Rock and Roll to Illinois. Regally bred World of Rock and Roll is by Rock and Roll Hanover out of Worldly Beauty, an earner of $1.9 million, and from the family that sired $3 million champion pacer Captain Treacherous. World of Rock and Roll, a winner on the Grand Circuit, has sired foals with a total of over $3.3 million in earnings, including 2-year-old filly pacer of the year in Ohio, Bad Girls Rule. Standing at Walker Standardbreds for $1,500, call Dandy Farms at 312-446-8310 or go to dandyfarm.com and book your mare today.
Join us September 3rd, 2018 at the annual Illini Classic Yearling Sale. Over 100 yearlings from top Illinois sires such as Doomside Perch, Sagebrush, Sportsmaster, Cassis, Pizzazzed, and many others will be sold. Recent sales graduates include 2018 Cardinal winner Holden Steady and 2017 Illinois 3-year-old Colt Pacer of the Year, Captain Red. Visit IlliniClassic.com for details. The Illini Classic Yearling Sale, where champions are found.
LeBlanc Designs has been in the harness racing business for over 20 years. Based in Truro, Nova Scotia, and beginning with clients from Truro Raceway, LeBlanc Designs now offers handcrafted and personalized helmet designs to some of harness racing's top drivers, including Tim Tetrick, Hall of Famer David Miller, Corey Callahan, and many more. LeBlanc Designs also offers airbrushing and vinyl designs for hockey masks, motorcycle helmets, and guitars. For more information, go to LeBlancDesigns.com or call it 902-899-7922.
We are back. Hour number dose 2 of North American Harness Update, the final episode of August 2018. Then we'll move to August 2019 or September 2018, either one.
I was going to say, I don't know what that year's done with design. Although as bad as this year's been for me, I mean, like, okay, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're just going to leapfrog into 2019. Ray will still be in school picking his nose.
I don't know what Ray's doing. Hopefully he's watching the show, resting.
Yeah.
Get well soon, Ray.
Resting B-face.
Yeah.
So, we gotta move on.
If he is watching, it'd be nice if he could just pop on and just, like, say hello or something. Anyway.
So we've got a couple more races to cover over at Mohawk for tomorrow night. Race 11 is the preferred pace, $34,000 purse. Another really good race here. Nirvana Sealster moved out of this race to go into a different race, so I'm curious. It's a short field, Mike. Field of 6 here. I think the early favorite is probably going to be Continual Hand over the 1 off of that big mile last time, 53-2 last half, 26 flat final quarter. He's been extremely sharp recently, but he might be a victim of pace here. With the short field, there's not going to be a lot of action. So, for me, I'm going to go with the 5, Rockin' in Heaven, coming back from the Gold Cup and Saucer. Finished second there, raced very, very well. Comes back to the big track. He won his last start here with Jay Harris. A last quarter, 25-1. That's just ridiculous. The horse is extremely sharp right now. I can't go against him, especially going back to the big track. He had an amazing start here the last time he raced here. I'm going to stick with him. You're going to get okay value and not great value, but he's going to be decent, probably 5-2 area. I think he's got to be used. Continual Handover is pretty obvious, coming off of 3 extremely sharp races, but could be a victim of pace here. We'll see how that goes. Early for this horse, there's not really much gate speed for that horse, which is the only concern. But for me, those are the 2 key players. They are both going to take some money. But another horse that I'm not particularly fond of in this race, who is the second choice morning line, the 4, Always a Hot Shot.
Well, I mean, it's hard to fault the that horse in a lot of ways. I mean, this horse just won from the 9 hole for numbers of 30,000, albeit off a perfect trip. But, the horse, did get a setup, was in the right spot, but did kick home in a 50 and 1 mile. Prior to that, no chance in that continual Hanover race, really just kind of faltered. Before that was third to Dr. J and Physically Inclined, ran through conditions quite easily. Overbet, possibly. I mean, he was 12 to 1 last time. I didn't mind him last week. I really thought he had a chance to win from out there. I picked him second. But I feel like this race really goes through the 3, take a while, but absolutely no chance last time. Gets Jody now. And, this horse has raced well for him in the past. He controls the race. I mean, this horse is the fastest horse early. It's a entire field full of closers. The 1's a closer, the 2's a closer, the 4's a closer. The 5 tends to... I could see Jay having this horse in the mix, but, when he raced at the big track, came from 7th, 12 lengths out of it, so another closer. And then Regal Sun tends to be a mid-pack stalker. So, you can't... Take a while... Is sharp enough to beat these, is classy enough to beat these, should control the race early, and I feel like the race goes through him. If he kicks home, fast, like he did 3 back when he kicked home in 26 and 2 against Rockin' in Heaven, he doesn't give these closers a chance. I don't care if they're going to come home 26 because he's coming home just as fast and they got to run him down. I like him quite a bit. I think you have to lean on him. I like Regal Sun because I think he's going to be positioned well early. He's going to be ignored. He won off the drop. The horse is very consistent. He made $100,000 last year, $78,000 this year. There's nothing wrong with him at all. I could see, Harris having the 5 in the mix early. I don't think the 1's going to repeat that last race. I mean, the horse is just very inconsistent. Can he win? Yes. Do I want him? No, I don't. I think I'd be leaning on the 2, the 5, the 6.
With that, we're already moving on. Race number 12 is the Grassroots Series for 3-year-old pacing colts.
Sorry, I said the 2. I meant the 3. We talked about the 3 the whole time. The 3, the 5, the 6.
But this is the last race of the night at Woodbine Mohawk Park for tomorrow.
I have 13.
I'm only seeing 12.
Okay, let me look. There's 13.
Well, my program is jacked up.
They gave you sort of half a program?
Yeah, my program's jacked up. It looks gray, but I can see like something white at the top of the page. So we're going to cover 12 of 13 tomorrow. This is the Ontario Sire Grassroots.
13. Go ahead.
3-year-old colt pacers. Field of 8 here. And this is kind of like the icing on the cake for the night. Very good card tomorrow. You have to watch this card.
Absolutely.
And watch through this race because this is...
You should watch every card.
This is a very good betting race, I think. I'm curious where you're at in this race, Mike.
Extremely difficult race. A lot of horses that are hard to trust. Like, you get Pretty Handsome getting Lasix after, facing Jimmy Freight, the downtown bus. The horse was racing well, had won basically 5 in a row prior to that, and it's kind of gone south. But these are much, much easier foes. Gets Lasix. I would expect a blast. I just don't know which horse is going to show up. Bo Mock's last 2 races aren't horrible. He won August 24th when he controlled it with Yannick. Then had no chance in that Yacht Soester Taste of History race. Parked every step wide. Prior to that, he had raced well in, those grassroots races. The horse I like, though, is the 1, J.M. Jack of Hearts, who, if you watch this horse in June and July, extremely talented, had a lot of big miles. If you look back to that June 12th race, kicked home 26 and 2, was just flying. I mean, this horse was unbeatable at that point. Even raced well against Jimmy in a gold on July 22nd, was put away for a month, got a trip around the racetrack against decent ones. If you look, what's that, race 3 or something on this night, the Backstreet Shadows, Trump That, Sharp Action Monies of the world, those are all better than these. this horse could return to that early form in June. I think just lays over them. And the price could be okay after that last race. So I would probably lean on the 1, maybe back up a little with the 4, and then would watch the board on the 8.
I agree a little bit. The 1 needs to get back into form. Isn't necessarily way out of form, but I think needs to kind of pop back to where he was at a few months ago. The 6 Wind Blast is the curious horse for me. Impeded last time, was just taken out of the race after that. 2 starts back, a win.
There too.
A win at Georgian. And he raced in the grassroots at the small tracks. Was in the gold here at Woodbine Mohawk back in June. Didn't fare very well there. Got abused early on in that race and just faded. The horse plays. Needs a trip, I think. But he should be sitting up close near the pace. If he can get a quarter of a mile somewhere where he can get a little breather in there, this horse is going to be right there at the wire. High percentage barn. Jody hops on for the first time. Maybe this is the wake-up call this horse is waiting on against this type of group. I'm going to use him. I agree with you on the other 3 horses, the 1, 4, and the 8. I think they all got to be used. That's it for me there. That's it for us at Woodbine Mohawk Park. We're moving on to Running
The last
Aces.
race, actually, Rod, just that 13th race is a very good race. I know you don't have the program, but that's going to be a really good Super High 5 race. That's probably one of the better races of the night. So it's too bad that your program. We'll have picks though on NAHU picks. That's an hours of 11,000 last 5. That's going to be a nice race tomorrow night. You can stay up for it.
I don't know who's going to stay up. I'll stay up, but
Stay up.
I will be up. But we are moving on. Sunday, pick 5. As of right now, as long as it doesn't get hit tomorrow, the jackpot carryover giant over $25,000 currently, likely to grow right around $30,000 by Sunday. This not high 5, pick 5. I'm sorry, jackpot pick 5, 20-cent minimum, and the way this has been growing, I'm expecting a giant pool as long as it doesn't get hit before closing night. When we are at Running Aces, this should be one of the top bets, if not the top bet of all time at Running Aces on closing night. Don't you think?
So they're going to wait. Is that when they're going to use the mandatory payout as the closing night?
I think. Not 100% sure, but
It should probably go till then unless something crazy happens, because even with long shots and stuff, somehow it's a 20-cent bet. There's not a ton bet into it, so I could see it growing till then for sure, and then that'll create a nice pool then that night.
Now, the pick 5 for Sunday night, this is Sunday night we're talking about, 20-cent minimum. It is a jackpot. It starts in race number 8, so 8 through 12. And the first leg, actually, before we start that, I want to ask you, Mike, you got you a new whip today. How you like it?
I did. It was nice coming home, I have to say. For people that don't know, I last week I totaled my Cadillac, so it's gone.
Because you can't
so
drive.
I got a new car today. It's pretty nice. The BMW, so we're going to try that for a little while. I've driven Cadillacs for 11 years. We're going to try a little something different. And so far, so good.
NAHU's now taking bets on how long it is until Mike crashes his Beamer.
We'll start the future book pool. That was my first real car accident in my entire life, so, I mean, what are you going to do?
But anyways, we're back to Running Aces. Race number 8 starts the 20-cent Pick 5 jackpot bet for Sunday. You got the entry Mimi Marguerite and Decker even money morning line. They've been extremely solid. Basically playing these things on top and just keying them. You've been solid other than the last start, which everybody kind of got burned there. But they play every single week and they've been sharp all season long. It's tough to go against them. I, for one, am not going to go against them. Are you?
Well, I think obviously they're going to be used, but if you're looking to win the jackpot, then you might want to take a shot against, because both of them lost the last time. The straight one has lost 5 races in a row, and they're back outside again. No gimme here, especially with Decker, who broke at the gate and still made up a massive amount of ground. To be second last time, hard to trust now. I think that, what's wrong with the 3 in the race? I don't know. Especially if the ones bust again. This horse draws the 2-hole, flashes early speed, is always kind of in the mix. Hasn't made the money that those 2 horses have, but at least this horse has 2 lifetime wins. If you look at the 2, he hasn't won any. The 4 is 1 for 28. The 5 is 0 for 4. The 6 is 1 for 26. And the 7's never won, and he's outside. So if you're going to lean on anything, I would imagine the 3 gets Wiseman. There's nothing wrong with that. The horse won a B-level race, 2 back, getting a perfect trip. I would expect another fairly decent trip. If you don't trust the ones, double the ticket and go 1-3.
I'm not going to go against the ones here. They're too good, especially Decker. Okay. Decker's just been, other than that break last time, and she has been prone to break in the past, but she recovers fairly quickly most of the time. But she's extremely fast, and especially against a group like this. And even if she breaks, you still have Mimi Marguerite, who's right there every single week, and really she only gets beat to Decker. So, right. They're tough to go against for me. Moving on, race number 9. This is leg 2 of the pick 5. Leg 1 of the late pick 4, 50 cent minimum there. Now winners of 1 or 7,500 life on the pace. And you got to field the 8 here, full field. Tough race, I think. I'm curious, in these non-winners of 1s, Mike, you know as well as anybody, some of these horses are just incapable of getting out of this class. So I'm curious if you like the 2-year-old or if you're going elsewhere.
Well, the night that I thought, that this August 19th was, the night that it didn't get, it was 4 out of 5, if you remember. And you could have leaned on this horse. It was a very similar situation. This horse shows up, was a first-time starter, looked faster than everything in qualifiers as a 2-year-old against older, ended up, just holding on to win. Now has missed a week, but just looks so much better than everything on paper. The 1 and the 2 are extremely difficult to recommend. You don't know. I like the breeding on the 4, but the qualifier is marginal. Now, could they be sandbagging there? That's a 26% barn. I don't really think I would want that horse to beat me necessarily. The 5 has 3 lifetime wins, but the last 3 races are again hard, and then you start getting on outside posts. So you expect the 6 or 7 to win from those posts. Pretty unlikely. The 8 raced well 2 back, has had a couple outside posts. Was bet also in that race. Prior to that, the horse never takes any money whatsoever. 0 for 15 this year. I'm not interested in anything but the 2-year-olds. I would use 3 and 4 and just, move on.
Now, I'm keying off of the favorites in the first leg. I'm going to try to get one beat here in the second leg. Gold Star Stormy, the 3, is going to be a heavy, heavy favorite again. I think she's the best in this race, but I'm going to try to get her beat. I don't think she's going to get that minute and a piece half again. Somebody's got to leave. The 1, Pecan, I think she plays a little bit from the inside post. Last week was kind of an anomaly with the break. I'm not real sure what happened there. She should be good enough to hit the ticket if she gets that trip. You look all the way down. She hit the ticket. She won the start before I drove her in that maiden race, which was a cheap bunch, but, she got a trip there. She popped out of the pocket, turning for home, and she beat him. So I think she plays if she can get a similar trip there that she got that night. The long shot player, I think here, the 2 Feeling Fancy Free, she definitely plays, just needs to get away close and sit the rail. She doesn't have a lot of closing speed, so her thing is going to be just sitting there and hoping some stuff happens in front of her. She's 1 for 37. That's the issue. I'll use her underneath, but pick 5 purposes, I won't be using her.
Yeah, I disagree with you there. If you like this horse,
I like her underneath. I don't think she wins. I think she can hit the ticket underneath because she's not going to get a ton of room to work with.
But in this jackpot situation, if you're playing for the only ticket, these are the kind of horses you need.
Well, I'm going to another one that would be the only one.
I'm just talking. If you're playing these jackpot tickets, don't be afraid to use 20-to-1s.
Well, I'm going to give you another one.
If you want a scoop, you got to get 1 or 2.
I'm giving you another 20-to-1 from the outside, which is better than that one.
Okay.
The 7, Little Port Derrick. Comes off a 3rd place finish last time. Another one doesn't close very well, but this is one I would use on the pick 5 tickets just because this horse should be following. Was first over twice in a row, 3 times in a row. Brady Jensen will not have this horse first over again. He's going to be following cover and should be following some pretty live cover, I would think, of horses inside of him. And he plays, just needs to get drug into the race. Does need a few things to happen in front of him, but if they do happen, this is the long shot play of the entire night on this card. And if he wins, there's going to be a lot of people throwing their pick 5 tickets down. So throw this horse on just in case. I think he's got a shot to win this race if things fall into place for him. Race number 10. Non-winners of $17.50 last 4 starts. This race, you got to feel the 8 and morning line favorite Swagasaurus Rex, the 5, who has been just so recently. He hasn't been himself what he was earlier in the meet. I think he still plays, but the key for me in here is the 2 Sonalta Power, 9-2 morning line. You're getting okay value here. Tim Mayer driving. Last week had no chance from that spot to win that race. I thought, he ended up being almost 4.5, 5 wide, turning for home in that race, and was closing a ton, just ran out of room. Needs to be closer. Should be closer. That's the key. Tim Mayer, get him closer. I needed this horse last week. Please get him closer. But he's in good form right now. Impeded 2 starts back, had no chance to win that race. He was basically knocked out of the race. Tried a front end bid, 3 starts back in. That was against way tougher than what he's in with. I don't like that. Off of that last race alone, I think he's a use. He's got a mark of 50 in a piece. He's got back class. Use this horse. You're going to get okay value on him once again. The 4 Diamonds I'm going to use. This is definitely a trip horse. He never leaves the rail, but he can leave off the car. So I think he's got to be played. looking for that 2-hole trip once again. Not much more to say about him. The 5 Swagasaurus Rex has been off form, like I said earlier, but he has been facing tough groups. He drops back into the condition ranks, and I don't know that he's been in this soft since coming to Running Aces. Another one that's got some back class. He's got a ton of speed. Just needs to find his form again. If he can, he definitely plays. He's supposed to win this race, to be honest with you, but his recent form has just been so uncharacteristic of him that I'm weary of using him and keying him. So he's just a use for me at this point. And those are the 3 that I'm going to use in this race. Mike, who you got?
I think I'd be 4 deep in here. The horse I like best is the 3 Cruising For You, who drops out of those 5 and 6 condition races. Has faced Mr. Ranger 3 in a row. Before that, it's like My Frisky Boy, Best in the Business. They're nice horses. This horse, gets a little bit of a drop, gets an inside post, should trip out a little bit. It's consistent enough coming out of fast races. I think is a must use. Definitely, you're going to get a middle price there. I feel like he's going to be ignored off those few. I agree with you on the 2. This horse had no chance the last 3 races. Prior to that, faced I'm an Athlete, Best in the Business. Again, better horses at this level. Doesn't necessarily like to win, this year, but has had big win totals in the past. So I don't mind that one. The 1 Lincoln. This horse woke up for numbers of 8,500 and, has 7 wins this year. Can flash speed from the rail. I wouldn't leave this horse off. That switch to Wiseman woke this horse up last time. Steps back up. I don't mind him at all. And then I think you have to use the 5, who gets a massive drop and is capable if driven a little differently than he has been. So I would be 1, 2, 3, and 5.
I don't mind those picks there. The 1 is just a little curious for me. I'm not 100%.
But again, I'm looking for prices, so I like the Wake Up. Wake Up's a big angle for me, and the horse has had a decent year, 7 wins. I like stuff like that.
We'll see how he does there. Moving on to the next leg here. This is race number 11. Start of the late double. Non-winners of 2 or 15,000 lifetime. And there is a high 5 here, field of 9. And these high 5s, especially on Saturday nights, tend to carry over. It's a 50-cent minimum. And you get some pretty good pools into these things, so make sure you keep an eye out for this, especially on Sunday night. You're going to get decent pools there. But for pick 5 purposes, wide open race, a lot of horses you can use here. The 4 Probert's Legacy. I said last week this horse was vulnerable. He did not have to win that race, and he didn't even race that well, I don't think. This is a class that I think he just goes with. But for me, for pick 5 uses, the 1, Avoid the Noid, comes in off a win. I don't know that he's going to go right to the lead again and get that soft half, but it was a very, very good win there on the class drop. He plays here. She plays here once again. 3 wins on the year. Shows a winning attitude and is coming into good form off of that huge last half last time. The 2, Fear Factor, draws inside. Does get a driver change, but I don't mind it that much. Has been racing very well. Definitely a trip horse, and with the much better draw, I think you're going to see him just get away up close and sit there, not make a move, and hopefully pick up the pieces late. The 3, Phenomenal. Bobcat jumps on to drive this one. Has shown early speed the last couple. Not real early speed, but has gone to the front, made a first over move both times. Third start for Jesse Pacheco. with the Bobcat here. 2 starts back, Bobcat drove in this horse, absolutely crushed similar types, and has been in great form recently. So I think this one is a must-use on your tickets. The 4 Probert's Legacy. Again, didn't need to win the race last week. Could get a much better trip in here, following live horses the entire way. I see no reason not to have this horse on the ticket. Just needs like a quarter mile to follow some live cover and pop off that cover. Plays, I'm not keen on the price though. The 5, You're Going to Hear Me Roar, debuted last time and was absolutely dominant. This one could be the key player in here, but this is a tougher group than what he faced last time in his debut. If he gets the trip, he will win this race. If he doesn't get the trip and has to come first over, then maybe you're going to see him falter late. But the way he raced last time, he was just giant. They had no chance of beating this horse in that non-winners of 1. Again, this is a tougher race than what he was in last time. He's got to step up a little bit more. I think he's going to step up a little more. We'll see how much more he needs to go to be able to win this race, because this group is, like I said, much, much tougher. Those are the 5 I'm using. I think any of those 5 can win this race. Mike, where you at?
Well, I think the 5 is extremely difficult to go past because, you don't see horses first time out, out of the 6 hole, break 6 lengths behind and then, have trouble and still win by 8 lengths. I don't care if it was a maiden race. That's a massive race for anything. Could he regress? Possibly. But, you say it's a tougher race. I don't think it's that tough. I mean, there's a lot of horses in here that just aren't that impressive to me. They're struggling at non-winners of 2 and 3. A lot of them have to drop back to non-winners of 1 and 2 to win. Horses like the 1. Stone Cold Perfect set up to win.
Here's the thing. Last week, Joker John was easily second best. And Joker John.
Yeah.
He was easily the second best horse in that race. So this is a big, big step up for this horse.
Okay. I mean, the line is just impossible to ignore. This place better than I do, so I'll give you that. Like the 4 is a stone cold money burner. I don't want nothing to do with him. I like the 2 because I like that race 2 back, kicked in 27 and 4 against, I think better than these. And then last time raced good enough to be 3rd. But, I think he's a use from this post. The 3, had to, came in and crushed an hours of 1, like you said, stepped up and raced good enough. I think he likes it better here than did at Hawthorne, so I'd use that 1, and then I'd use the 5. So I'd be 2, 3, and 5.
Sounds good enough for me. I don't think the 6, 7, 8, or 9 have any chance to win this race with.
Yeah, I mean,
all the good horses are
the only
inside.
other horse I'd use maybe would be the 7, just because he's had bad posts. I mean,
he's got another bad one.
I can look at that.
He's got another bad post again.
I know, and that's the thing. So, but it went from the 8 hole 2 back. So, maybe I would probably throw that one on just for a price.
Race number 12, Sunday night running aces, the end of the card and the last leg of this Pick 5 jackpot, 20-cent minimum. You got a field of 9 here, full slate for this race. Now, this is the bottom level non-winners of 865 last 4, so they wrote one into this race, which is the 4 Polaris, who last week was all over the helmet of the horse in front of him, just running horses over. I think he's supposed to win the race, but he is 0 for the year. So, Mike, where are you at in this race? You got some time.
Remember how Polaris used to really be at Hawthorne? I mean, this horse was legitimate down there. Won 7 times last year. He is 14 years old. Somehow 15-1 in this spot last week, and like you said, was running over them. I use, for me, I think the 5's a must use, dropping, missed a couple months and then, was in against Smoke Rings, which is way better than these horses. So that one would be a use. The 7 gets a little bit of a drop in the race. There's no Argentas in here, so I probably would use that one also. And that could be an interesting price. I would spread and use as many as you can. My ticket's a little bit cheap. So, a couple weeks ago, that night, what was it, a $90 horse won the last race. I could very easily see that happening here. So use as many as you can. Lean on the 4, 5, and 7. I'm going to see what my ticket is without them, with everything. I would try all.
I think the horse that you didn't use that could be the key here, even though he is not himself recently, the 2, Who Dat Love. He got a good trip last time, didn't do anything. He's been off form, but I don't think he's going to have to get used hard early here because the 1, Do We Did Done Good, doesn't have a lot of gate speed early. So he can get in front of the 1 and sit there. I think he's got a shot. We know this horse is fast enough. The key for him is just sitting there and not getting used too hard early. But the 4, Polaris, he's been good, especially his last start. He was very, very good there. Didn't get out. There were horses moving on the outside of him the entire race. He was just kind of trapped in there, had nowhere to go until late. And just needs some clear sailing. He'll be right there once again. Not a key by any means, but he's a definite player. The 6, I'm a Tank. Last week got shuffled. Just had no chance to win that race. His cover went nowhere. He's better than these horses. He's supposed to beat these every single time. He gets Dean McGee to drive. I think he's probably the key player in this race. Not a lot else I can say about him. Why is there a mosquito in my house? Come on. And then come on, man. And then
you need to get you in that like Ray.
Yeah.
Next week's episode will be sponsored by NAHU Nets because Ray apparently has West Nile virus.
West Nile
has West Nile mosquitoes attacking him in his house. So if any net companies want to sponsor this show,
I'll wear it.
A few nets to our struggling hosts, we would love that. Rod, contact people this week.
Calling the Nerf netting.
NAHU Nets. NAHUNets.com is our next website.
I have a Photoshop picture I'll send you of what we want.
Yeah.
Mike's seen it.
It's hilarious. We're gonna post. You need to post that on Twitter.
Yeah.
NAHU Nets. Unbelievable.
But the last horse I'm going to use in this pick 5 sequence is the 7, Mucho Macho Man. He plays. Needs a trip, obviously, but he's been okay facing tougher horses recently. This is one of those, maybe he follows up the 6 and gets drugged right into the race and could beat this field if that happens at a humongous price. Maybe it can happen. We'll see. He's not much of a winner, but I think he plays in this field. So with that concludes our pick 5 for Sunday night at Running Aces. Those tickets will be found on Sunday on our website, NAHUPicks.com. Be sure to check those out on the Running Aces tab. Now, there's some things with 15 minutes to go we had to get to. Not obligatory, but I wanted to get to a few things. Michael, Jordan Prebosi.
Yeah. This is all going to be very news to me, so
what
are we getting to?
We had shows on the road This is an opinion question here.
Okay.
Your opinion. Because I've been asked some of these questions and I've had to respond with my opinion. So I want your opinion on these because I haven't asked you these yet. So, we did shows on the road for basically the last month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
The Meadows, Running Aces, the Meadowlands, Tioga, and Vernon. 5 racetracks there. Which track, if you don't include the show, was kind of the question I was asked in different wording, but if you don't include the show, which venue did you like the best?
Well, I mean, they're all different. They all have their own little quirks, I think, their own little idiosyncrasies. The place I like the best, obviously, I think the Meadowlands is obviously the nicest place. Just because it's new, it's updated, and Hambo Day I thought was phenomenal. I really had a good time that day. It just was a blur. There was a lot of big crowd. The food trucks were great. The racing was really, really good. So I liked the Meadowlands quite a bit. I liked Vernon a lot this time. I liked that racetrack. I liked kind of hanging out the next day too. And we interacted with a lot of people there that were very positive towards us, and I liked that a lot. Vernon was a lot of fun. Tioga was different. Tioga has a nice facility. The hotel was really nice there. And they treated us well. The people treated us well. We were kind of upstairs, but that was a cool racetrack too. So the Meadows is my home base. I'm used to that place. I like the thing about the Meadows. I like is the food is very good. I know a lot of people there. The racing's always good there, so I always enjoy the racing. And so there's things to like about all that. Where else did we go, Rod? I forget.
Running Aces.
Oh, I loved it. Aces was really fun because of the way we did the show there. So we had Darren with us. Minnesota was really cool. I'd never been there before. I like that racetrack. It's kind of in the middle of, nowhere, right?
Yeah.
But, the Aces was a different show just because, we were involved with the entire broadcast. Our giveaways were awesome there. There was things to like about every place, I thought. My favorite show was the Meadowlands show just because it was Hambo Day. And, it's almost like being at the Derby.
I kind of agree.
Great guests there.
For us harness racing fans, it's Hambo Day is tough to beat, but I love Running Aces facility.
Yeah, they have a nice place. I like the people there too a lot.
You go into the card room, you still hear the PA system for the races.
Yeah.
You don't get that everywhere, and that kind of irritates me when I go to places and I don't see that type of thing. And you know how I am about that. Like I'm very picky. If there's a casino at a racetrack, they don't have the races on somewhere. I'm not staying there. I'm leaving.
Aces is very racing friendly. I think that they do a great job with their racing for sure. There's a lot to like there.
The Meadowlands. The cool thing about the Meadowlands, they were starting to redo the simulcast area for the sports book to integrate it into the simulcast area when we were there for Hambo Day. But you walk in there and it's a racing venue. That's what it is. And that's what it was built for. I like that it's an event center, multi-purpose venue. I really like that. And I've told people this that have asked me, and I just haven't publicly said anything about it. But those two places really, to me, are awesome. Like you said, the hotel at Tioga, top-notch. Awesome hotel.
Mm-hmm. I liked the Vernon show this year because...
Our shows at Vernon are awesome. I love doing the shows at Vernon.
Yeah. because we're right there kind of in the middle of everybody, on the feed with, providing analysis constantly. We had a lot of good winners that night. We had a lot of good guests. It's really just a cool place. Like, it's an old racetrack, and I like that. Like, I like going to Balmoral when it was still around, because it just felt like an old racetrack. It's almost like going to Saratoga in a lot of ways. The thoroughbred track, where it's just like you're going back in time. That's the way Balmoral was anyway. And Vernon's a lot like that too. You can tell that there's the regular players. There's regulars everywhere, but it's a different feel. It's a different, smaller track kind of. I've enjoyed going there both times. I like going to all the places. There's different things to like about each one, but it's hard to beat the Meadowlands. It's almost like going to Churchill for the Derby. You go there for the Hambo, and it's just, the biggest day. The traffic's not great, but
yeah.
As soon as you get inside, you're good.
Another question, aside from the venue part of it, handicapping of the tracks that we've been to, I had to think about this for a minute. What was the most successful handicapping show we did on the road?
Well, I thought that Vernon show was very good. This past, are we talking about the last 5 shows?
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought Vernon was number 1. The Meadowlands was probably number 2. I struggled at Tioga. I had a terrible day that day. That was number 5, because that was horrible. Aces, I felt like we were on a lot of the prices underneath us, so there was a lot of favorites that won that day. So you were better than me there, but I still felt like that we had value there. So that's my thoughts on those.
For me, Hambo Day was my best day. I had 11 top pick winners in.
You did have a good day that day.
There was 16 races. I had a towel on the side of my head half the day and still ended up with a purple neck from sunburn.
Yeah.
That far and away, I had prices, I had favorites. I was hitting everything. Everything was hitting the board for me.
No, I think we all had pretty good days that day, but yours was a little bit better than ours, But that was a good day for sure.
And
the
then
Vernon day was good for everybody, I thought.
Yeah.
We picked a lot there with that the big price and the big race. That was huge.
Yeah, Metz Hall and Zweig, we all had him at 12-1.
So Aces was good because I thought like a lot of our under horses and horses we mentioned were good. Tioga was terrible. I have to say I was.
I did okay at Tioga. I didn't do great, but I still had a couple winners there that I think I had one that was. I had one that was flying. It was the Nick Surik horse, and I can't remember the horse's name now, but you remember that one early in the card?
Yeah.
It was one of the first stake races of the day. He was like 50-1 and ended up flying for third up the inside with Jim Matenis driving. Horse race giant, and I needed him to get up a little bit further than what he was, but I gave him.
Got for me? Any other questions, Rod?
No, we're actually going to move on to what's upcoming for NAHU. If you haven't, if you are,
I wonder if I know anything about this.
Well, if you can't read above, right up here, if you cannot read this stuff, go download our new app on, because we are on radio, go download our new app on your Fire TV device. Amazon Fire TV. It could be Android, whatever, Kindle, Fire Stick, Fire TV, Fire Crotch, whatever. Just go download it. Just go download it. Go download our app. Just type in NAHU Picks in the search bar. It'll show up. It'll be the only horse racing app you can find. Go to our YouTube channel, NAHU Picks. Subscribe there. All of our videos go right on there because we live stream everything. This is not pre-recorded crap. This is all live. We do all this live, on the fly, no script. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and sponsor us. Dude, I know you can see this thing. Come on.
What kind? I can't see anything. I don't know what.
It's
what,
like a
what
moth. It's like a moth. It's not a mosquito.
Blurry. It's all blurry. Like I don't know what you think I'm looking at.
You know, you're seeing different.
What's
screen.
on there?
It was a freaking moth flying in my face.
I feel like you shouldn't mention it.
Well, it's flying in my face, and they can see it on the friggin'
Deal with
TV.
it.
I did. I swatted
Anyway.
it away.
Okay, so what shows do you have? Okay, you got Aces coming soon. 2 weeks.
Yes, we've got Running Aces coming up September 15th. We will be back at Running Aces for closing night. You do not want to miss that show. I've got giveaways. Let me show you real quick. I just got these in today, this afternoon. We've got gear from the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Minnesota Lynx.
All right.
We've got, look at these shades from the Timberwolves. This is slick right there.
I think you
Ooh,
should
they
have them.
sexy.
Why don't you have them on right now?
No, I'm not putting these on. I'm giving them away.
Okay.
Uh,
Ron's got stuff to give away. I'm not going to make that show live, so I'll probably be contributing on the computer.
We've got stickers, window stickers, wall stickers, whatever you want to use them for.
Are you a big Timberwolves fan, Ron?
No, I'm a Bulls fan. And
Well, you're a
we've
Bulls
got
fan that night.
Minnesota Lynx wristbands for
Nice.
for everybody. We've got those.
I'm a Lynx fan.
So we want to thank the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Minnesota Lynx for sending us this stuff to give away to all of our fans at Running
They're
Aces.
paying attention to NAHU.
Yup. They watch NAHU. We're also going to be giving away a bunch more stuff when we get up there, so do not miss that show. Another night of giveaways the entire night. It's the last night
else we
of
got?
the meet. We're giving away a bunch of crap, okay? So you're going to want to share that broadcast. Share every broadcast because we give stuff away every week. After that show, we've got a show at the Raceway. This place right here. The Raceway Western Fair District, October 5th. Friday, October 5th. Opening weekend at the Raceway. Shannon Sugar Doyle could not make it with us tonight, but he did comment on the feed. What did he say here? Looking forward to Lazarus. Swandre the Giant sold for over $1 million today.
Wow.
And he's going to try to get on with us before the meet starts, which would be good.
Big
It'll be fun.
supporter of the show. Huge supporter of the show.
And tomorrow, Shannon Sugar Doyle will be announcing at the Track on 2 in Alberta, Canada. So make sure you check that out. I've got full card analysis available on the website, NAHUPicks.com. Right on the homepage, just click the link. It'll download for free. You don't have to pay for it because harness racing content and information should be free. Wink, wink. Show after that will be just me and Ken Terpenning from Harness Racing Replays on Sunday, October 7th at the Red Mile. Closing day. Basically all stake races all day long. That's going to be
the biggest day there. That's huge.
It's going to be a giant day for us, for everybody involved. We're going to have a lot of fun doing that with Gabe Pruitt down in Lexington, Kentucky. That's on Sunday, October 7th. And then the final show for 2018 on the road will be at the Breeders' Crown, October 26th. That's the final Saturday of the month. That'll be the Breeders' Crown Finals, 12 stakes finals, Breeders' Crown Finals. going basically all night long, and we're going to be there broadcasting live, and we will have a big production hopefully for that show. It will be fun, but more on that in the near future. I have been your how do I want to word this, amazing host for the evening, in
Quite amazing.
replacing Ray Catolo. We hope Ray feels better.
Ray Catolo.
Yeah, we hope Ray feels better. And good luck at Woodstock tomorrow. But I'm Rod Elms Jr. This guy here, Mike Probozzi. We will see you.
Go to NAHUfix.com, please.
Please do. Deuces.